Hey, what's going on, guys? I have a video, maybe the series whole will be called something about finding peace. Let's get right into it. I'm not going to edit these as much as I edit my other videos. This is essentially things that I have learned, that I am still learning, that I'm practicing, that I want to document, that have allowed me to find peace. So maybe we'll call this whole series Finding Peace. And why am I talking about this is because ultimately I believe that no matter what you do in life, if you're here, you're starting out, and you're not happy, you will go and learn, and if you're intelligent, you will learn a lot, you make good decisions, which allows you to increase your output, which essentially makes you more valuable to the marketplace. We've talked about this before. When you make a lot of money, essentially you're going to be able to do more things, you have more freedom. When you have freedom, you're able to express yourself more genuinely, and I use a different marker. When you can express yourself more genuinely, this is going to be a lot thicker, you can be more of you, and which allows you to ultimately find peace, because you have to be yourself. And whatever your starting point is here, ultimately the goal is always here. You don't seek peace for the sake of something else. All of this other work we're doing, whether it's learning, increasing output, finding money, finding freedom, even acting more of yourself, is ultimately so you can find peace. And I'll tell you this right now, that when you are coming from this place of peace, you're able to actually increase your output, and you're able to do all of this a lot better, because the end goal is to find peace. So you can skip a lot of nonsense at the end of that. And what I mean by that is this: when you're young and you don't know, right? This right here, you're not at peace, you don't have money, all of these things, you don't know anything, you don't have freedom because you don't have money, you're subjugated to someone else's opinion. You end up making a lot of bad decisions because you are, well, not aware that the end goal is actually just peace. I can go on a story here, but when one of my family members or friends, they come over and they are surprised generally by how simple I live. I don't have any crazy things in my house. They ask me what I do very simple things. I wake up, spend time with my family, I work on my office a little bit, and I'll produce some work like this, and then I'll go upstairs and I'll just sit around. I don't really watch TV. I don't really have any habits that are lavish. And then they're like, this is very peaceful. And I'm like, yes, that's the whole point. Peace is a very expensive commodity. It's, in fact, in my opinion, the most expensive thing in life. And that peace allows me to be more productive, and which ultimately allows me to make even more money, which allows me to be more of myself, have more freedom, and then it kind of loops in back to peace. And it's actually a very good cycle, and because I know this is the most important part of it, right? You cannot lose this. So I want to give you some tips here in your journey that hopefully will help you. The first and the most important one, when you realize that the goal is peace, is you realize that there's two types of ways to live your life. Warren Buffett talks about this thing called a scorecard, right? And he says you keep a scorecard and you have these numbers on it for yourself, and you keep this other scorecard that you keep numbers on it for others. And he calls it the internal versus the external scorecard. And the internal scorecard is how you look at yourself, and this is for others. And he says if you want to be successful, you got to be an internal scorecard kind of person. You have to care more about your own score, how you look at yourself, which essentially means that you are focused on your own opinion of you, what you think of you. This is a huge gateway to understanding how peace works. If you have a bad opinion of yourself, it's very difficult to find peace. If others have a bad opinion of you, but you have a good opinion of yourself, you can find peace. But it's not true if the opposite. If everyone thinks you're the greatest person in the world and you're scoring 90 out of 100 here, but you're scoring 10 out of 100 here, you're not going to be at peace. That's a bad situation to be in. So that's the first tip, right? The first tip, if I was younger, the advice I would give would be to keep a 100% internal scorecard. Meaning, if something makes you antagonize yourself, please don't do it. Don't do things that make you feel bad about who you are. That's number one, right? Number two, remember that peace is the end goal. And peace to me is this. The definition of peace is doing something for its own sake, right? Doing something, which I said earlier. I think peace is one of the very few things in life. Love is probably the only other one, right? Which ultimately you could say love leads you to peace. Doing something for its own sake. So if you meditate, you could say, well, I'm meditating so I can get peace. But you get peace because, well, you want to be at peace. So ultimately, peace is really something that doesn't have a means. It's not a means to an end. It's an end in of itself. So finding that and remembering that. This is the third one is kind of a elaboration on number two, which is doing less. doing less. And by doing less, what I mean is, no, I mean, really, I've talked about this so much, it's probably a broken record at this point, but really, no social media, right? I always talk about how social media is messing with our brains. I don't have Instagram, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Twitter, I don't have none of that. I like to be in my own head, right? And I do, and even with YouTube, it gets out of hand sometime, and it's a lot of good information, but there's a lot of bad also that's kind of entwined. And if you can't discern between those, it'll really mess you up, man. No social media, no notifications, spending time by yourself. Honestly, if you can't be 1 hour by yourself, you are cooked. At least you got to spend an hour in a day where you just by yourself, man. I think I find the best peace when I'm with my thoughts, with a pen and paper even, and there's no phone, there's no notifications, and something that you'll find clarity. And one of the greatest ingredients that leads you to peace is clarity. If you have clarity, and clarity comes from less, right? So if you do less, you will get clarity, and that will allow you to be on a better trajectory to find peace. And less comes from, well, doing less, right? These are some of the things that, in my opinion, if you are keeping an internal scorecard, if you never forget that anything that disturbs your inner peace is not worth it. It doesn't matter, man, if you get paid a lot of money. Like I said earlier, it allows you, when you're at peace, you're powerful. We talk about the most powerful man in the room, the most powerful person in the room is the one that doesn't want anything from anybody. That's when you're at peace, is when you're powerful, because you don't do peace for someone else's sake or for anything else's sake. And which, if you always remember that, it will always keep you grounded, and it makes you more useful. And then finally, the gateway for getting peace, in my opinion, is doing less. It's honestly, we're in a world where it's completely opposite of what most humans dealt with, right? And in the past, you had to do more. You had to do more, and you had to do a lot of variety of things to get success, right? Different technologies, etc. I believe that in today's world, you actually have to do a lot less. You have to do the things that are intuitive to you, that you believe are right, and you have to do great volumes of those things, but you don't have to do a variety of things. In fact, if you can bring the menu of your life activities smaller, you will get way better results, and I think ultimately you'll find more peace. And I think that's the goal. If more people were at peace, the world would be a better place. If more people sought peace and remembered that peace is the goal, I do believe the world would be a better place. And that's really the goal of this video, is to hopefully help you so you can make the world a better place, because my mentors and the people I've learned from have reminded me that time and time again, that Zane, never sell your peace for anything, whether it be a relationship, whether it be money. Like I said, it's a huge thing that people give up their peace for. You can be an incredible competitor and still not lose sight of the fact that peace is the goal. So anyway, I hope that helps. Thank you very much. And maybe we'll bring some more videos and let me know if these are helpful. Thank you.